So Facebook, according to reports, Facebook is doing a sweeping ban of QAnon content. And this is actually really big. This is like legit. Like this is huge. This is huge stuff. Um, Now I've said this before. I have people in my family that will say QAnon things every once in a while. Like when the wildfires were happening in Oregon, Washington, and California, I had a family member say that it was George Soros who started them. And I'm not even joking. And like this is like an otherwise normal person, right? Just randomly like, "Oh, I saw it on Facebook." Yeah, I just saw it on Facebook. That's what Facebook is saying. Right? Because what this is, like what Facebook is as a vehicle and as a platform. And this goes with Q and other things, but Q is very nefarious in attaching itself to the way Facebook works. And people will write things on Facebook, and boomers and older Gen X people, people that aren't very technologically literate, they will see something on Facebook. It'll be well written. It might have some emojis, right? It might have like an email contact link, right? And they think that it's legit. They will see that and they will say like, "Oh, well there's like a business email, there's like emojis that are like desktop publishing, like, like well timed, like on the left side of the screen, and like, punctuation, and like they think it's real." So they see things on Facebook, they think it's real. And one of the other things that Facebook does is it will send screenshots of other websites and other platforms. So, for example, imagine a screenshot of whatever the Facebook text is, but it's not that text. It's like a text from a different website, like a different font or something, right? And so it's like a screenshot of another website, so it must be legit, right? Like, "Oh, I took a screenshot of this. Guys, this is breaking news. Look at the screenshot I just took." Chances are it's a manipulated screenshot of someone just like writing in Notepad on their platform, where they just posted it, and then these wine moms will take that and they'll run it like, excuse the puns, but they'll run it like wildfire. And one of the things that QAnon has been kind of propagating under is the Save Our Children hashtags. You saw this with the Netflix cuties, like disaster, like cringe that was going on, where there was like, hashtag Save Our Children. So all these pages are using all these things, and every time that they use and propagate QAnon conspiracy theories into things, right? They get those shares, and they get people that will follow the page, right? You get people that, again, and they mean well. They say like, "Oh shit, I gotta follow this page if they're gonna provide this breaking news information," right? And again, this is the thing I was talking about like yesterday or the other day, whenever it was, is that QAnon people, there's a sect of them that are crazy psychopaths, absolutely. But there's also a sect of QAnon people that, like, again, if you are convinced that there is a Satan worshipping, child eating, Democrat run cabal, you would probably act in similar ways to these people. Like, they are just regular, everyday people. Maybe they didn't like Hillary Clinton. Couple months into Facebook, and now all of a sudden they think that Satan worshipping devils are eating children underneath Comet Ping Pong. And it's a huge problem. So now I've gotten to the story here. That's my preamble. Facebook is banning QAnon across its platforms. This is from NBC News, as you can see, because their headline is like changing. What is that? Like it's going from blue, now it's white and gray. I don't know if that really fits. But anyway, Facebook said Tuesday that it is banning all QAnon accounts from its platforms. I am going to be eagerly awaiting family members telling me that they got banned on Facebook, and and they're gonna wonder why, and I'm gonna try not to laugh. But Facebook said Tuesday that it is banning all QAnon accounts from its platforms, a significant escalation over its previous actions, and one of the broadest rules in the social media giant, one of the broadest rules that the social media giant has put in place in history. In its history, to be more accurate, Facebook said the change is an update on the policy it created in August that initially only removed accounts related to the QAnon conspiracy theory that discussed violence, which resulted in the termination of 1,500 pages. Again, if you thought that there was a Satan worshipping group of literal demons and devils that are like dancing around in like a fire circle eating children, like just throwing them up in the air and going like, right, like cartoonishly, right? If you thought that that was the case, violence, it's not violence anymore, it's protecting our children. It's hashtag saving our children, right? And that's why this stuff is so nefarious. It convinces people that otherwise would be normal wine moms to want to go outside and murder random people they've never met before. It's crazy stuff, right? A company spokesperson said the enforcement, which started Tuesday, that's yesterday, I believe, will bring to parity what we've been doing on other pieces of policy with regards to militarized social movements, such as militia and terror groups that repeatedly call for violence. Starting today, we will remove Facebook pages, groups, and Instagram accounts for representing QAnon. We're starting to enforce this updated policy today and are removing content accordingly. But this work will take time and will continue in the coming days and weeks, Facebook wrote in a press release. Our dangerous organizations operations team will continue to enforce this policy and proactively detect content for removal instead of relying on user reports. Now, one of the things that's very problematic about QAnon is that there is no organization. It is a very ragtag, very decentralized group of people. Again, you just got random wine moms that maybe like 2 months ago like had nothing. Like they just had a Facebook account and it was just like their family and friends. Maybe they had like 100 friends on there. Couple months later, right, they just like happened to make a group about like, you know, like children's sports, and then a couple months later it turns into a QAnon group. Like it's really that simple. And again, I have family members that have over the past few months become much more like conspiracy oriented. Again, I have family members that have said George Soros is trying to burn down California. It's weird, it's bizarre, it's strange stuff, right? It's very, very interesting stuff. The spokesperson said the company believed it needed to limit the ability of QAnon and militarized social movements to operate and organize on our platform. QAnon is a conspiracy theory that grew out of the fringes of the internet and posits that high-profile Democrats and Hollywood celebrities are members of a child-eating cabal that is being secretly taken down by President Donald Trump, and the members of this fictitious cabal will soon be marched to their execution. This gives me the idea. I should do a Trump Doom sequel. At Doomers in the chat room. Just this is totally meta here. Ignore this, but I should do a Trump Doom sequel based on QAnon. I legit should. I legit should. That sounds fun as hell. Anyway, the conspiracy theories rely on posts from Q, an anonymous user of the extremist board 8kun, which I did not know that they changed their name apparently, which was formerly called 8chan, who has been wrongly predicting, I love that little editorial bit, who has been wrongly predicting the roundup of prominent Democrats since October 2017. I love that. I love that bit of editorial. The Facebook spokesperson said this company is not going after individual posts, but whole accounts that spread the conspiracy theory, which has been tied to acts of violence. QAnon accounts have become centralized hubs for coordinated disinformation campaigns in the last several weeks. Before last Tuesday's debate, QAnon accounts pushed the conspiracy theory that former Vice President Joe Biden was wearing an earpiece before the debate began. Again, wearing an earpiece for what? Like, is this like the SpongeBob episode where he's in boating school, right, and someone's giving him all the answers? Like, who's giving, like, what, the earpiece? If anything, it makes no sense, right? Because if anything, having an earpiece, like, Joe Biden trying to listen to Chris Wallace, Donald Trump, and whoever's in the earpiece, maybe Kamala Harris, all at one time, you think Joe Biden can listen to 3 different people at once? Come on, man. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. In the last week, the QAnon community has pushed the conspiracy theory that Trump is not sick with the coronavirus, but carrying out a secret mission in a fictitious war that has been predicted by QAnon followers. And this part is also a little bit interesting. With the new and complete ban, Facebook faces new hurdles to identifying accounts and enforcement. Reacting to the partial ban in August, QAnon groups and followers shifted tactics to evade moderation, dropping explicit references to Q and camouflaging QAnon content under hashtags ostensibly about protecting children. Again. If you have like 3 kids, right? And they're all staying at home because of this lockdown, and you are somewhat sympathetic to Donald Trump, all it takes is a couple months on Facebook, and you could be running a group about hashtag Save Our Children, saying that Netflix is part of a Democrat-run, Satan-worshipping group of devils that are eating children. Again, I know it sounds ridiculous, and for most people, this is ridiculous. But again, somehow it is capable of changing otherwise regular people into crazy cultists. And it's nuts. And now, do I agree with a social media giant having the ability to ban ideas like this? No, I don't. I don't. Right? But at the same time, something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. And Facebook has been letting its platform be used for far-right propaganda while banning left-wing ideas and left-wing individuals for years. So, as it says at the beginning, there's a little bit of parity across platforms or whatever. Whatever. Um, and so, like, again, they've got these groups that are ostensibly there to, make sure that people aren't endorsing violence on the platform, right? And now they're going to be used to target conspiracy theorists. Now, I think it's in the short term maybe a good thing. Maybe. But in the long term, social media giants, first of all, we shouldn't be in a situation where things like Facebook exist and information like this is able to be easily propagated so quickly and so effectively. I think we should have a lot more of an atomized internet without these centralized, like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, right? I don't think, or Google, I guess, we shouldn't have these giant tech organizations that control everything. They should be broken up. They should be in every little aspect of these companies should be in a smaller bit. So like maybe a Facebook chat room will be a different company, right? And then you have like your Facebook wall where you post your pictures and your blog or whatever. That's a different company. That's how all of this stuff should operate, but it doesn't because we live in a late stage post-capitalist fucking hellhole, right? This is garbage, right? We are living under shit. But that is a goal of ours, the left, right, over the next 10 years. For now, I think we should take short-term victories. But it's another thing to understand that for a lot of people, this is just going to have them see less QAnon posts. It might slowly de-radicalize them, right? But for a lot of other people, they're going to ditch Facebook, and they're going to start using things like 8chan or 4chan or Kiwi Farms or other these message boards where these far-right lunatics are posting about devils, right? And that is also problematic. This, like with the Alex Jones thing, will have a splinter effect. Yes, it will stunt the potential like snowball effect of gaining more popularity, right? But it will also make the people that stick with it more radicalized as a result. So that's something that we're going to have to watch out for. But yes, QAnon is a big problem, and I wanted to take a little bit of a moment at the top of this program, because again, I've been talking about QAnon more than a lot of people, I think. There's not that many people that will talk about QAnon as frequently, and this is really only because I have people in my family that fall for this shit, and there's nothing I can say or do to them. Like, they literally will take a random screenshot they saw on Facebook, right? That when I ask them to present it to me, like, whoa, let me show where you got, like, show me where you got this info from. They scroll and scroll and scroll and can never find the source. And there's nothing I can do to change their mind. They will see a screenshot on Facebook and their minds will be made up that Hillary Clinton is secretly a devil in disguise. And that shit is scary, right? And I know how this affects normal people, and that's why I think that QAnon is so serious, right? I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, so there you go.